Okay, good evening everyone. It's so nice to see everyone make it along on a lovely Tuesday evening. Before we get started, I'd like to thank you all for coming. I'm Mr. Paul Obicotto. I'm the head of Year 8. Some of you I've had a chat to on the phone. Some of you I've met in person at the parent-teacher interviews and from this and last year. But I've had the pleasure of looking after your boys this year and a fair chunk of last year with Mr. Prince. So I've developed quite a relationship with a lot of your boys, and it's been my pleasure to look after them, and they're reasonably well behaved cohort. I'm quite lucky to have such a good cohort. The term one was a little bit of a challenge with a few new policies and dates and missing things, but this term is certainly much more comfortable for them. So I certainly look forward to the rest of my time with these boys. The reason you're all here is the camp information evening. I'm sure some of you might have some questions. We'll save that towards the end of the presentation, which will be quite short, as Mr. Doyle will be having his rugby league presentation straight after this. Firstly, it's playing up a bit, sorry. Just try and get it up again. Okay, so it's on the 29th of July to the 2nd of August. It'll be 5 days. Within those 5 days is a two-day camp out, so actually physically camping out in the bush. Now we'll be making the sites, it'll be safe, we'll be setting it up. It's used quite frequently, it's maintained, but it still is a camp out. It gets the boys out of their comfort zone and promotes that real getaway experience that some of these boys will cherish and remember for the rest of their lives. It is at Kenilworth, which is sort of sunny coast hinterland, and as I said, it's 5 days. We leave Monday and get back on Friday afternoon. This is the Adventure Alternatives, which are the people that run the camp. This is their quote, and it reads like this: "By being an independent organisation, Adventure Alternatives is able to focus on school camp facilities and program design while enhancing outcomes driven to maximise participant experience and personal development. Adventure Alternatives provides real and personal growth to our clients, participants and staff." Now, when we were looking for venues to hold this camp, sorry, the year 8 boarders are sort of making their way in. When we were looking to have a venue for this camp, we looked quite thoroughly, and Adventure Alternatives came very highly regarded from a number of other colleges. So when we looked into it, it really seemed like a good match for the outcomes and the values that our boys are going to take out of this. So we will go through their website soon, but they've created their own web page, which was sent out to everyone, and it contains all of these things here. So from the medical consent forms, what to bring, student expectations, camp style, duration, location, camp venues, videos for parents to watch, and also some frequently asked questions if I don't answer it tonight, or if you're wondering, or if anyone's watching this at home for some of our boarder families. That is the website just there. This presentation will be put up on our Facebook website so that everyone can access it, and you can basically click on the hyperlink and go straight to the website. If the hyperlink doesn't work, just cut and paste www.adventurealternatives.com.au/SBC8, and that takes you straight to our their web page. On that web page, the web page looks just like this. Adventure Alternatives up the top, you'll see home, school camps, about us, and contact us for some information. It has the details about our camp, talks about the theme. We won't go through it now. This is where you fill out your consent and medical form. It is an online form, okay, so you need to fill that out online and submit it online. It'll take about 5 or so minutes. What to bring on camp list. I have printed a copy for everyone if you'd like to take that home with you. I know I'm a paper person. I like to mark and read things on paper while I'm doing it, so I've got a copy for you. But it's also online if you lose that. So everything from clothing to footwear, raincoats, and nice little one down the bottom saying no makeup allowed on camp. So I don't think we should have a problem with that one. But it does say no mobile phones. If your son, it's like a school rule. If your son brings his phone and it goes missing, it's their responsibility. Okay, and they won't be able to obviously use it while we're doing activities and stuff, but yeah, it's the student's responsibility if they bring their mobile phone. So further on the website is the frequently asked questions, what to expect, okay, the camp expectations. It's pretty standard, especially for a camp of this magnitude, and then just a bunch of reviews from other colleges. The medical form online looks like this, and it's pretty straightforward. Do you agree? Media consent, first name, and you scroll through. It's got 16 pages, so it is quite in-depth. It is in-depth because it covers you for a range of things. Okay, it is a 5-day camp. They're going to be doing a lot of activities, some of them a little bit high risk, but they've combated that risk with their own workplace health and safety agreements. So that is the medical and dietary form. If your son has any medical requirements, it is important that you put it on that form. Okay, they will actually bring your son separate dinners and a choice of different dinners if they're not eating what we're having. Even if we're camping out, they'll send out separate packaged foods up to our camp out, and we unpack it and cook it together as a group, and it creates a real bonding experience. But make sure you put it on the form, and if you have any questions, ask myself or contact anyone from the camp, and they'll be more than happy to help you out. So that's the website. If you have any queries, pop on there any time. Everything's on there. It's pretty standard. Back to the PowerPoint. Eventually. Okay, the medical and dietary, like I just went through, okay, that last little dot point there, we understand that camping isn't for everyone, and by no means is this camp 100% compulsory. Okay, there's a few families, concerned families and boys that have already contacted me indicating that they'll be choosing not to come on the camp, and that's perfectly okay. It's impossible these days to basically hold a camp, and it'd be completely naive to expect that everyone could attend. So if you've got any queries or concerns, whether that be about your son concerned about camping out, allergies, anything that you're worried about, please contact us. But if at the end of the day, don't feel upset if your son can't make it, as it's not compulsory. We will be looking after those boys for the week. In the library, there'll be resources developed, and they'll be working through those activities. So if that is your family, then please let us know. Here's a list of the experiences that they'll be doing. Okay, there is more than this, but this is just a little snippet. Okay, so high and low ropes, which was in the previous Year 8 retreat that we used to have at the caves. It's nice to embed that in the new camp that these Year 8s will be getting involved in. Flying fox, giant ladder, glider possums, problem solving and leadership activity games which progress. Okay, so they get harder and harder as the days get on, and we really do start to see the boys growing and evolving, and we really do get to see who the true sort of leaders are in the group, and who's working towards each other. Boys often come back from these camps a little bit different and a little bit more grown up. And they also tend to develop friendships and partnerships with each other, and also their teachers after these sort of camps. So it's very worthwhile. There is a YouTube clip, which I'm not going to show tonight, running a little bit short of time, but the YouTube clip goes through those activities that are embedded in the camp. It is also on their Facebook website, on the web page, and from those viewing from home, you can click the YouTube link there, and it'll take you straight to the YouTube clip. If you have any questions or concerns or queries, please either contact Adventure Alternatives directly. That's their mobile number and their email address. They're very prompt in getting back to you. They've been very friendly and helpful for any questions that I've had, especially from parents asking me questions and I'm not too sure of. They've been very helpful. You can also contact myself or my wife, who is the camps coordinator, and we will get back to you as soon as we can with any concerns. If that's all, if anyone has any questions, then I'll be glad to answer them. I've also got the what to bring handout, and I've also got some extra consent forms for some boys that didn't get some yesterday, or if you're not sure if you filled it out. It's important that we get those consent forms back as soon as possible so that we can develop a list of exactly who's coming, so then we can contact the camp and find out the ratio of staff we need to bring. It could be anywhere from 8 to 10 staff, plus their 8 to 10 staff that we're looking after. So as soon as we can confirm numbers, then we can work out staffing, and it's already week 5, so it'll be awesome to get that done as soon as possible. So is there any questions, or was that pretty comprehensive? No? Okay, wonderful. Yes? What was that, sorry? So I'll actually email this to all your 8 parents tomorrow if that makes it easier. And then we're also putting it on our Facebook page so that our boarding families can get a copy of this. So I'll email it. If you want to check your emails, if it doesn't come through, let me know. Otherwise, it'll be on Facebook, so you can grab all the details there. But again, contact me anytime. If I don't answer, I'm either teaching or around. I'll get back to you, and or leave an email. But I certainly look forward to the camp. It looks like a worthwhile experience. Mr. Gill, myself, and a few others will be attending. I've attended several other camps similar to this, and it is certainly worthwhile. The main question I'm getting from a lot of boys too is, "Sir, are you sure it's free?" And the response is, yes, you don't have to pay anything. It's embedded in school fees. And those school fees are worked out over a 3-year period and then averaged out. So last year you might not have gone on too many activities with your camp. It was more retreat and in-school things. This year, big one, and then next year maybe a smaller one. So it's averaged out over the 3 years to make it effective. And it's also a priority of our school to touch on our touchstones so that the boys can experience everything they can while they're at school. So there's no price that you have to pay for the camp. So that's a good one. Organises school buses and buses to transport us there and back. Exact times will go out in the next couple of weeks. When we confirm numbers and staffing, we can let the bus companies know, and then we'll let you know exactly what the time is for departure. But if there is no more questions, yes? That's a really good question. I contacted them as well and said there's some boys here who are quite anxious about these activities and parents that are quite nervous. What's the go with all of these activities escalating up? And they said it's a decision that the student makes at the time. Okay, so if they don't want to do an activity, they're not going to go push them onto the activity. They stand, and we'll have teachers there. Some will be doing the activity, some will be watching, and they won't be forced to do it. They'll be encouraged. And normally when a few boys will do something, they'll get involved and do it and conquer a fear, whether that be heights or claustrophobia or something like that. But if a boy doesn't want to do something, they certainly don't have to do it. Okay. Yes, they do. Unless pending a weather event like a cyclone or a storm or something happens to an apparatus while we're there, it breaks. But yeah, everything's functional and should be ready to go. Any other questions, guys? No? Okay, thank you so much, and I will pass you over to Mr. Doyle now, and he's going to do the rugby league presentation. If you aren't here for the rugby league presentation, you can either come up and ask me if you have another question, collect what to bring forms or RSVP forms, and I look forward to seeing you all. Have a lovely evening.